A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook and on the free Odyssey app.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mason Crosby Show. We are not at high noon because our brew crew are about to take the diamond and get this thing started, which we're juiced about. I'm wearing my Brewers hat. Check us out on all our socials. Go to YouTube channel. You can find us there. And we are in the studios powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy is not here. Thunder is driving somewhere. He's probably in Illinois right now driving, but we have Charlie using in the house, holding it down. I do have to ask you something because I know you're a Bears fan.
Yep.
Are you a Cubs or a White Sox fan?
So I'm a Cubs fan. With like baseball and basketball. It's a little different than like football. Football, I'm strictly a Bears fan. I won't cheer for the Packers unless it's for my job, and then I'll pay attention, cheer them on a little bit more.
There. Okay, I got you.
But Bucks, Brewers, both those teams, I grew up going to those games, so it's really just kind of a soft spot for me. I grew up at Miller Park, now AmFam Field. I grew up at the BMO Harris Bradley Center, now Pfizer Forum. Technically, I guess it's a different spot, but still, I grew up in those places, so I have love for both those teams. When they're playing the Chicago teams, I'll root for the Chicago teams. But in this game today, I'm rooting for the Brewers.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was just making sure we weren't. I wasn't talking to a White Sox fan, so we gotta make sure that we're all rooting for the same team today.
Of course.
My wife and I last night did our wine podcast, Crosby's Crew, and we ate. We had a hot dog, we had some steak, and we were kind of doing the two sides of opening day, right? We were talking to somebody like the executives in a sense, they'll pop champagne and have a nice dinner, and then you go to the stadium or the ballpark as a fan and you're ripping hot dogs and having beers and doing all that. So we kind of dove down both paths, and there was like most of my Crosby's Crew moments, there was probably one glass too many, but we had a good time.
Understandable. I think every single time that you have something like that, it makes it more fun when you get, an extra glass deep. I think that's worth it.
Yeah, all the interesting stuff comes out.
Yeah,
there.
And I think just with opening day traditions, with baseball traditions, I mean, this is my favorite day of the year. I think every time I get hyped up leading up to opening day. Like I said, I grew up with the Brewers, so it's always fun to see kind of the festivities going on around AmFam Field. I think me and you are the only ones not involved with something happening around the stadium right now, which is all right. I like hearing the stories from everybody else, but one of these days to be there at opening day, to be walking around the parking lot, just to have that atmosphere, which I haven't been able to experience yet, would be a dream come true.
All right. Well, that's a great way to kind of start. First question of this segment is go to the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. You come on YouTube. You can hit us up on Twitter. Is this 414-677-1250? Is this one of your favorite days of the year? It has to be. It's like the kickoff of spring, right? Like, is this that day that you just look forward to, where the Brewers are back playing baseball? Spring is finally here. We're moving towards summer. I do think baseball gives us the hope of summer, right? Because it's like, all right, like once baseball starts, summer is on the horizon, right, and we're going to be locked in watching this team play. So I'm excited. Honestly, I think until last year, and being on my show and talking about the Brewers and like building up to it, and then what it meant through that summer and how well they played, I had never been that invested in a baseball season. I'd watch and I'd enjoy and all that, but like being locked in and seeing like their journey through that season from a different perspective was so much fun. And I do think there's just a different energy when it comes to the baseball season and whenever it gets kicked off.
Well, and especially last season was such a good year to get involved in with this team and the storylines that we're building with this squad. I mean, you had Bob Uecker passing, and today after the game, if you guys are at the game or headed to the game right now, you can check out a sneak preview of Ueck, the documentary that's coming out. It should be amazing. I wish I could be there to watch it. I know I'm going to be there the first week that it comes out at the movie theaters to go watch it at the theaters. But just having that storyline of last season, of having that Uecker magic behind this Brewers team, and then seeing Christian Yelich kind of have a resurgence season, seeing Bryce Terang have the type of run that he had partway through the year, just such great storylines for a year of baseball, and you hope that continues to this year. But not only with the Brewers last season, just across baseball, it felt like you just had some amazing storylines that were coming up across the league, and it made it so much easier to follow one team when the rest of the league is you want to pay attention to that too. You just get so invested with the team that you want to, which is the Brewers.
Yeah, exactly. So before opening pitch here, I know I said before the show, maybe you have that Miz sound. Like, let's hear from our opening day, our starting pitcher here, Mizorowski. I think he was on Pat McAfee's show this week. Just what this means to be the opening day starter for your franchise.
Let's go with this one.
What are the final thoughts going through brain while you're pitching or right before pitch? Do you have final pitch thoughts, or are you completely locked in, blacked out whenever you're up there?
Oh, it's blacked out. Yeah, we're just listening to our catcher back there, Bill, and going after it every pitch.
So when do you black out? Is it during the pitch, during the entire inning? When you go on the field, you don't know what happens until you come back, you still don't know what happened out there, or just during pitch to pitch?
No, it's when you cross that line, you kind of flip that switch and you kind of black out and do what needs to happen, and you make it work.
I love everything about that.
I love that. I mean, I was like literally about to say exactly what McAfee said. I mean, it's like, that is who you want on the bump right now, right? I mean, what a way to start the season. Who knows? We saw Skeens only. Did he even get through the inning?
Nope. Got through 2/3 of that inning, gave up 5 runs. I think one of those was on an error, so unearned, with O'Neal Cruz in center field.
I saw that. Yeah, with
still a brutal start. Yeah,
brutal. We saw the Yankees last night. I didn't see the final. Did they end up did they smoke them?
It was 7-0 last time I checked. I'll double check.
That's what I looked at.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty brutal, and that was without Aaron Judge doing anything. So that team's just amazing. It ended 7-0 too. Yep.
Yeah, they kind of got up on them, and I mean, I was joking, and I mentioned it a couple times on the Wine podcast about their torpedo bats. I'm like, I guess they just bring them out for the first couple games, and then they kind of settle in. But they have to have those torpedo bats early, so they just get a little confidence built up. But I'm juiced to see Miz on the mound. I think I would love if his first pitch was like an off speed changeup. Like he winds up and then just throws like an 85-mile-an-hour curveball, and the guy's just like sitting back like, oh my gosh, I was waiting for that thing.
It just can't be. And I think with Jacob Mizorowski, what he's known for obviously is the fastball. And when Pat McAfee on the same show gave you this kind of offer to throw 104, I think you got to start going with that right away.
104.6, you said?
2 or 3, I can't remember. Yeah.
Okay. When would you start hitting 104 again? Like mid-season now? Like when would you start hitting that again? Actually,
I mean, I'm hoping it's there opening day, but probably middle season, end of season, but we'll see.
You go 104. Well, I don't want to. I'm not doing that. No way.
No, he's got it in the bag. You can do it.
Okay. I'm not going to be a part of this. Actually, I'm not going to do that. We'll donate $100,000 if you had 104 miles an hour on Thursday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the legend, Jacob Mizorowski.
Yeah.
Hey, he says he blacks out when he goes out there. He's going to remember that. And like, okay, now I'm ready. He's going to rear back that first batter. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to push to that 104, because you get challenged like that, regardless if it was a joke or whatever. Like the competitor in him and how he seems to be, he's going to be reaching back, trying to get to that 104.
I mean, he just walked out to the mound, the whole stadium standing for him. They got like the lights flickering. It just looks electric. He's got to go out there and just start with some heat. I feel like if he started with anything else, it just wouldn't make sense. This is the moment that a lot of Brewers fans have been waiting for since he came up last year, halfway through the year. They wanted to see him be in this ace kind of role. And due to injuries to Quinn Priester, to Brandon Woodruff, you are put into that role. You're pushed into that role. And it feels like he's the perfect guy to take advantage of that. In the big moments, he showed out. This is one of the biggest moments he's been a part of so far.
Well, I think you're exactly right. I think it's the mentality that he has. He has the mentality to be that superstar, blacked out. Like, I'm just walking across the line and nothing else matters. I am trying to strike these batters out, and I'm going to try to get this team a victory. And that's what you have to do whenever you are that ace. You literally, nothing else matters other than how you go onto that mound and go and perform. And as a young guy, for a young guy to have that mentality early and the confidence he seems to have, even though he's funny, he's like a little kid, he's kind of goofy. He he has a confidence that I feel like the other guys kind of feed off of too. I remember last year, they're just like, Miz is kind of he's a crazy person. I mean, he's just like, he doesn't really do anything, but it's like whenever he brings that gas, we all get juiced up. And then he mentioned, I just look at Bill and he tells me what to throw and I'm throwing it to him. And I'm like, talk about the importance of a Bill Contreras for a young guy, especially on opening day. Like I talk about experience all the time with the Packers and different things. Having Contreras back behind the, catching for him, that just has to put you at ease because that guy is just going to get you where you need to go. He's going to be a calming force. And you got to think that combination is just going to be electric right now.
Right. And it's not only just with Jacob Misiorowski, it's the entire pitching staff going into this season. Everybody outside of Brandon Woodruff is a young player in that group. You have Kyle Harrison and Brandon Sproat, who you just traded for. Logan Henderson could potentially find himself in that rotation throughout the year. You have a lot of young players that are going to be relying on a veteran catcher like William Contreras and how important he is not only to the batting side of things, because he is a huge part of this lineup. He's batting second today. He is also so integral to the pitching side of things when you have such a young group out on the mound that need to be checked occasionally and be kind of directed into what they need to do. And again, there's nobody better out there to help you do that alongside Chris Hook, the pitching coach.
So you mentioned, like Churio, is he injured right now? Did he get not like set down?
He did. So Jackson Churio is on the 10-day IL. I have Pat Murphy here talking about the decision.
What's your reaction to Jackson's news and the injury and with the plan moving forward?
Yeah, I hurt for Jackson. He was looking forward to this opening day. He loved the WBC, obviously, but he had some pain when he would check swing and even throughout his work. So we got it looked at a little deeper with an MRI, and the MRI revealed that fracture. He's going to be out a while. It's actually begun to heal. So we're just worried that there could be further injury if he doesn't take care of it now.
Do you anticipate maybe Christian Yelich playing a little bit more outfield as a result?
I think he wants to play the outfield, and I think he will.
And Jackson Churio. Jacob Misiorowski did not start off too great here. Gives up a leadoff home run to Cameron Meredith.
Hey, you know what? He'll settle in. He did throw 101 his first pitch, but gosh. Okay, well, hey, this is
excuse me.
This is where he shows his, his kind of grit and his merit, right? Like he had moments like this last year. He was not afraid to throw a pitch that would get cranked for a home run and then go strike out the next three guys, right? So you hate to see it. Like that's not how you wanted the season to start. I would love to hear what fans are thinking if anyone's watching this game. I am curious. This is a question we were talking about the other day. Did they figure out what channel is this ball game on there locally?
So this one currently is on Fox, and that's what it should be on locally when we get into the regular season for each of the different areas. For like Milwaukee area where we're at, it's 319 on Spectrum.
So they did finalize.
So they did. They put out the whole
out.
list. Yeah.
Gosh. That's crazy. That's but I'm watching on MLB TV here in Brentwood. He's throwing sliders. He threw a few curveballs. Like I feel like Miz might be trying to reach into his bag a little bit too much here early. Like why is he not just throwing that high heat on these guys?
Well, and I think that's something to do more with what he was doing in the offseason throughout spring training, which is what a lot of these pitchers are doing, are testing out these new pitches. And Jacob Misiorowski talked about his new changeup that he's kind of implemented or changed his changeup a little bit, trying to get more juice on that. I think in order to set up that pitch, the changeup, you have to kind of go to these sliders. You have to kind of go to in between, getting movement from the opposite corner down versus where the changeup is. And I think when you have this mentality of you need to work through your repertoire, you need to go through and find those pitches that are working for you. You kind of get in these moments early in games, which he just struck out the next batter. You got a good call on that. He has moments in these games where I think he's just trying too much to try everything. And as a young pitcher who has that deep of a bag, trying to figure out what he does well, you throw the fastball better than almost anybody in the league. Let's work on this other stuff. And yes, it's opening day. It's a big game, but it's also opening day. And you have 161 of these left after this. Right. You can practice a few stuff still.
Yeah, I think it's smart. It looks like there in that second at bat, he threw 4 pitches and only 1 fastball.
Mm-hmm.
And but it looked like he set him up really well. And then he comes at this next batter and throws a high inside fastball, which I love. Like just kind of now these guys are guessing. So guy might have gotten lucky, got his bat on the ball, got a home run. Now though, he is kind of getting into a rhythm where it seems like he's got some guys guessing a little bit on where he's going to reach into that bag and what kind of pitch he's going to throw.
I think so. If we head on over to the YouTube dugout chat at WI Sports Radio, you can follow us there, and on X, where we are also live streaming. TV Fanatic says, hopefully this year our starters can go more than 4 innings. I think it's pathetic if they can't. At this rate, Mizorowski's at 13 pitches with 1 out already. Don't think he may be going that much longer than 4 innings.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, yeah, obviously that was a frustration last year with Peralta, right? It's like, all right, he's supposed to be your ace, all that. Like if you could get him to 4 innings, that was almost a win, just because of the style of pitcher he is. But yeah, Miz is kind of getting into these batters for quite a few pitches already. So we'll see if he can maybe find that zone a little bit better, try to get some stuff by these guys so that he can maybe stretch it to 4. But I've knowing Pat Murphy and like his strategies, like on how he handles things, he's not sitting there worried about it.
No.
We might be as fans, a sports caster, all this stuff. We're like, we want to see guys get into the 5th inning as a starter and all that. Like Murphy's like, we got 161 games. If he gives me 3 good innings, I'm okay with it. We got a deep, bullpen. We got guys that we want to see, and then we're going to see Mizorowski in 5 days, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I think that's kind of, it seems to be Murphy's mindset, and he doesn't ever seem to really get phased by this is how many I need. It's more just calculated. This is what we got. We want you to be efficient. If you don't get it done, or your pitch count gets up too high, we're going to sit you down.
Right, and he just struck out the next batter in this inning too. Again,
this is what he does, man.
I think with Jacob Mizorowski right now, and talking about Pat Murphy, the way he's going to handle this, when you have so many other problems just within this roster already, with Quinn Priester again dealing with what he's dealing with, Brandon Woodruff is coming into the season slotted as the number 5 starter, but he's throwing 88-mile-per-hour fastballs right now, which is not ideal in today's MLB. I think you have other things that you want to focus on over Jacob Mizorowski giving up a leadoff home run on day 1, or not hitting the strike zone directly on day 1 when he has so much room to grow, and you're putting him on this giant stage. And like I said earlier, he can perform there. At the same time, if he doesn't, he's still a very young player in the beginning of his MLB career that is going to take time to get through moments like this.
Yeah, I have no worry about him. And so what did they do? So, they're not out of this first top of the first yet, but they moved. They moved Bryce Terang to the starting, like to the number 1 spot batting. Is that?
Yep. So he's leading off today. I would assume if Jackson Chourio was healthy, he would have been the leadoff hitter.
That's what was expected, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what they were doing throughout these first couple exhibition games. I do like Bryce Terang at the top of the lineup. Sparky and I were talking about this yesterday on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Check that out right after the show. We'll be on 2 to 4 today. But we were discussing how he likes having those slap hitters, the traditional kind of contact guys at the top of the lineup.
On the base, yeah.
I also like a guy who can pop a home run with the first pitch of the game.
Just like the White Sox did. Yeah,
exactly. You want that type of player at the top of your lineup, because I think this Brewers team, you talked about Jacob Mizorowski giving energy to the rest of this squad. I think whoever is leading off and whoever's having a hot game early on gives energy to the entire lineup. At least 2 other guys are going to feed off of that, and then the rest of the team will feed off of those guys.
You know what I'm excited to see is the 4 through 6 spot. Vaughn, Bowers, and Frelick.
Tommy was excited about Bowers
that stretch. I mean, if we get to those guys, all of a sudden, you might see 2 homers. It's like Frelick is not always that guy, but it's he's going to get on base, and then the bottom though, that's where it concerns me. Somewhat of the unknowns of, I don't even know Hamilton, like what he's about, Mitchell, Ortiz. It's like, they're going to kind of have to prove themselves at the bottom of that lineup
for sure. And I think David Hamilton is a guy that Pat Murphy has talked about how much he loves him, how he's going to be that breakout player this year for the Milwaukee Brewers. And just like you predicted, Jacob Mizorowski sits him down 1, 2, 3 to head to the bottom of the first. With those guys at the bottom lineup, David Hamilton's a speedster. He's somebody who's going to be able, if he gets on base, to give you a threat for extra bases, for stolen bases. something that can really throw a young team like the White Sox off. And then Joey Ortiz, we saw what he can do in his rookie season. Last year was definitely downturn. And I think my biggest concern with Joey Ortiz is not the downturn he took at the plate, but the downturn he took in the field. So I would like to see him get back to a Gold Glove caliber type player like he was his rookie year versus a pretty good to average defender, which is where he was last year. And then Garrett Mitchell just stay on the field. Like, as much as all three of those guys do worry me a little bit too, I also think there's very low ceiling or floors for a lot of these guys to get up there and be productive members of this lineup. And I think if Garrett Mitchell can stay healthy, if Joey Ortiz can just be a little bit better, and David Hamilton can reach the expectations that his manager has set, I think I'm happy with those three guys, even if it's not the highest tier of production.
All right. Well, I can't wait to see their at bat here. It's this is kind of where it gets exciting. All right, Miz gives up a home run, then he knocks him down 1-2-3, which was as expected with Mizorowski. A little excited in that first guy. Gave him maybe a couple pitches that he shouldn't have, and then he looked just calculated there on those last three guys. Just set them up and finished them off. So we're gonna watch them as they come to the plate for this first at bat. But that was awesome first segment. We're going to dive in a little bit into, I want to talk a little bit about the Sweet 16. We'll keep the coverage going on what's going on with Brewers baseball, as we are so juiced here at Wisconsin Sports Network at the Fan Milwaukee about this Brewers opening day. So really appreciate it. First segment down. Thanks for listening to the Mason Crosby Show. We are the studios powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We'll get you after this break. Does it always feel weird? I mean, you are listening to the Mason Crosby Show, and we are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. But that nice lady always brings us in, and then we just have to repeat her. I mean, if someone missed that like split second, is that kind of what we're checking for? So. Charlie, I'm relatively new to radio. You know, I'm in year and a half going on. I'm in year 2 here. So is that just kind of is that just the norm?
I think so. You just want to make sure that everybody always knows what they're listening to, where they're listening to it. You know, you got to make sure. Some people aren't paying attention all the time. I don't pay attention all the time.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Get everyone's attention. We are here and we are doing this thing. Mason Crosby here, Charlie Usen in the house. Tommy is, I don't know what he's doing.
He's hanging out at the Potawatomi Sportsbook Annex with Tim Allen, watching the game, having a good time. They have to come back on later, but they still get to go have fun while we're hanging out here.
Yeah, they're just hanging out, doing their thing. Mitch is somewhere, again, like I say, he might be in Indiana now, driving down for his spring break. So we're holding it down here in the studios. But I'm sure you saw our boy Bryce Terang, gets his first hit of the season. So if you don't know, Charlie, I'm sure you do. Tommy and I have a bet. 20-game hit streak by Bryce Terang. He gets a number 2.
That's active this season?
That's
I thought
active
that was
again.
The last thing. Okay.
Oh, no.
All right.
We brought it right back up from the start.
Perfect.
And I added to it, I think he needs like both of our faces, like on each side. So it's known what it's for. You know,
I like
everybody needs to see it.
I think that's a good idea. I'm down for that. You know what? Tommy, I'm rooting for Bryce Terang on your behalf.
You are. Charlie, have you ever had any bets like that, anything like that you've lost where it's a tattoo bet or do some crazy thing if something that relatively unexpected, you think your odds are pretty good and then it hits you right in the face?
Yeah, I don't know if I've had anything that extreme like a tattoo. I'm very much a hedge your bets type of guy. So like if it's something that I know I'm not going to win or there's even a chance, it's very unlikely that I take it. I mean, in the past for like March Madness, these brackets, me and my friends have done crazy things for that. I've never lost. Usually I'm pretty good. I'm not doing too good in our station bracket that we got going, the building bracket. But you know what? I still got a chance to survive there. Me and my friends did the breakfast challenge one year, which is where you wake your loser friend up early in the morning, and instead of giving them breakfast to eat, you just pour it all on top of them. So like we threw eggs at him, poured syrup on top of him, some powder. Like it was.
I haven't heard that one. That's a good one.
I don't know if I think we found it online when we did it, but it was not an original idea. I know that for sure.
All right, yeah, Charlie, I'm looking at our brackets. Where are you in this? Oh my gosh, you're down at the bottom.
I'm like third to last. I'm not doing good.
Not ideal. I got up to second at one point. I was riding high, and then Gonzaga ended up losing. I had them going far. I had picked. I had picked Florida, and I had picked Vandy, so that didn't work out too well. And that side of the bracket is just trashed now.
Well, and I think that's what keeps me alive a little bit is that I still have 148 like possible points. I have 3 of my final 4 teams. It was Wisconsin that screwed me. I had them going deeper than a lot of people did. I had them in my final 4, and then they messed up against High Point in the first round.
Yeah.
But like I still have Michigan State and Iowa State are my final right now, with Iowa State as my champion. So that's still alive. I'm still like,
if Iowa State gets it done, which they could, you would be kind of an outlier there.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm still alive. I'm not completely knocking myself out yet. Where I'm sitting currently is not a good omen. But if the Duke gets out, that's kind of my biggest key right now. I think what a lot of people are relying on, if you don't have Duke in your final 4 in your championship bracket, is that a lot of other people have Duke in that championship bracket. And I would say Duke hasn't looked unbeatable. They obviously got it close with Siena, and Siena just couldn't keep it up because they're playing 5 guys for that entire game. But TCU gave them a little bit of a run for part of that game until Duke pulled ahead and got ahead there. But they have St. John's next. They have potentially Michigan State. If not Michigan State, you got some of these other teams that are going to be playing in that part of things. I think this is a game where Duke isn't ideal in their part of the bracket. You have 4 other teams I think are going to compete for that. And as we get into the Sweet 16 here, I would be a little afraid if I had Duke.
Ooh. Okay, I like that warning. You are listening to the Mason Crosby Show. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're going to talk a little bit about this Sweet 16 as we continue to follow what the Brewers are doing in this opening day game against the White Sox. I want to ask you, Charlie, like, in this first day of this Sweet 16, what do you see? I mean, can we call anything an upset, or what like lower seed or higher seed do you see beating somebody? Do you see Arkansas knocking off Arizona? Is that kind of the one?
I think so. I think I look at that game.
I'm going Iowa. I want Iowa to beat Nebraska so bad. Like that one for me, being a Colorado guy, Nebraska, like, and even being in Wisconsin, sometimes just the color red, like sets me off. Like I literally at Colorado, we were not allowed to wear red, like in the building. It was just like, you couldn't do it because of the Cornhuskers, but I've softened to that a little bit, but I still have there's still something in my heart where I can never root for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I get it. At the same time, Nebraska is such a cool story this year.
You like the story?
I do. I'm a story guy. That's why I'm in sports radio. That's why I wanted to get into sports journalism, because I love the stories.
Okay.
And Nebraska, these past 2 years, last year was their first time in the tournament forever. Under Fred Hoiberg was his first year with that team.
Yeah.
And they made a little noise in the Big Ten tournament and then kind of flamed out in the first round of the actual tournament. And then this year, they just look like a completely different team, and they look really fun. And Fred Hoiberg is a guy that Sparky asked me this yesterday, because I am a Bulls fan. Don't you hate Fred Hoiberg for what he did to the Bulls and kind of starting that downfall of that? No, because there's been 18 other coaches after that I dislike way more than Fred Hoiberg at this point.
You've already passed that one multiple times.
Already passed it. So I'm not too mad at him. I like that he's having this kind of redemption arc for this team. And we were talking about it yesterday. If the Bucks wanted to head to a college rank and find a coach, like Fred Hoiberg would be the guy I would say the Bucks should go after, because he has that NBA experience. That's just a team that I really like watching right now. And I like rooting for Big Ten teams. We talked about this yesterday. So Brad Davison, assistant coach of the Wisconsin Badgers, was on Inside Wisconsin Sports earlier in the week. He has said, I don't want to root for any other Big Ten team. I don't want to root for any other team when my team's out of the tournament, the Wisconsin Badgers. I was like, nah, I don't feel that same way. I'm rooting for the Big Ten teams. When I was growing up, Michigan State was one of those teams that was just at the top, and you wanted to cheer for Michigan State. So I like them a little bit. Nebraska is a good story. Iowa's a good story. You want to root for these teams in my mind. I think it's weird that people wouldn't, even if you are a Badgers fan.
Yeah, but I mean, potentially after tonight on this side, I mean, there might, in my pick, like how I'm looking at it, there might only be one Big Ten team coming out of Thursday night here.
All right.
Because obviously Iowa, Nebraska, that's like one of those teams will win that game. But I have Illinois losing to Houston. And then I'm actually a little high on Texas right now.
Okay.
Like watching them play, like playing in kind of how they're that team this year for me, where they're a big school. They've had really good success in the basketball space. They came in as the 11 seed. They played in the SEC, tough conference, all this stuff. They're playing some good basketball. They could be that team that kind of sneaks in, and all of a sudden we have an 11 seed going into the Elite Eight, which would be kind of wild in today's world in the basketball space.
Well, and you said it yourself too. Texas is a big school though, so it's kind of weird that they're in that 11 seed anyways, because usually that's reserved for. Look at the other side of the bracket, the VCUs, the Miami Ohios. You have like these other teams that I think fit that mold a lot better than this Texas squad. So I can understand why they feel like that upset team, despite them not really being an upset team, because they are a Power 5, a high major school who's just sitting in a mid-major type of spot.
I think that's like the new world we live in like the college basketball, right? It's like that mid-major, unfortunately, just won't have the Cinderella story. The Cinderella story is going to be a Texas going to the Final Four, right? Where it's like they're the 11 seed. Oh my gosh, yes. Like, is there a story there? You probably hate that, Charlie, because it's like, what's the story? Oh, cool. They paid all their players as much as every other team that's there, and like they finally started playing better basketball once the tournament came along.
Right? Are you a fan of that? That like you are, like, because I think the argument from some people that are on that side of things would say, you're just going to get the best games possible. You're not going to get to a moment where it's an Elite Eight and you have a random 11 seed from the middle of nowhere that all of a sudden lost its juice, and now you're seeing a 30-point blowout in a game where it should be a close game no matter which one you put on the TV. I think some people are in favor of this kind of idea that you'll always have the top competition playing in those spots no matter what, even if there is a good story to be had somewhere else.
I don't mind a story in like the in the first round, maybe like a team that comes out of nowhere. You didn't know if they were going to be good. Unfortunately, it happened to Wisconsin. Probably High Point was like just had that juice and they matched up well. So they were able to come back and find a way to win that game. But I'm always playing professional sports for as long as I did and all those. Like, I'm like, no, I want the best team to win. Like I want the team. I don't like you didn't play well that day and some team snuck up on you and all that. No, it's like, if you win, you are the better team, right? Like, so I don't like the underdog stories. I don't know. My brother always makes fun of me because he's just like, he lives his life as the underdog and like, chasing after. I don't know if you've ever seen this. God, what was that? What was the movie called? Was it Soul Skater or something like that? It was like Team X-Blades and the Team Puppin' Suds or whatever. Okay. And it was like they're Soul Skaters and X-Blades are like the, sell out, like, rigid, kind of hard. Like he always like compared us that way. He was like, I'm Team Puppin' Suds. I do everything, for the soul and I'm the underdog. I'm like, the guy on Team Puppin' Suds was the best skater of all of them. He just didn't want to do the X-Blades thing. So you can't tell me that's an underdog story.
So it's like Karate Kid kind of.
It's Karate Kid. Yeah, it's like the guy's the best fighter. He won the tournament. Like, come on, man. Like, don't tell me these underdog stories just because like, it's what we want to do, how we want to talk about it. The better team on like it might just be on that day. Maybe they could only win 1 or 2 out of 10, but on that day, if you win that game, you are no longer an underdog. You were the better team, and that's why we play the games. I think that's why we love the drama of it, right? It's because there's those storylines where it's like when you show up to that court, when you show up to that field, you have to be your best because it's a fine line between second best and first best. And if you don't put everything out there, somebody's going to chase you and come and get you.
Right. Well, especially in like sports, professional sports, where the parity is so much closer than maybe even these mid-majors and high major teams that are playing against each other. And I get where you're coming from when you're in the competitive side of things. No, you don't want to be upset. You don't want to have these moments when you see those upsets. You've kind of find that crazy that there was even a possibility that could happen. It's for the fans. That's who this is for. Exactly. And it just feels like this is another, I guess, the way they talk about not wanting these mid-major schools to get past some of these rounds. It feels like a lot of these leagues, and especially the NCAA, are so focused on the money and side of things that they're blatantly ignoring the fans sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's a problem to me to some degree.
But I will say, like, High Points with 6,000 students and who knows how many alumni have actually come through there,
right?
Versus if Badgers make it to the next round, like, yes, financially and like for the NCAA, they for sure want the Badgers to win that game because they know they're selling out the next stadium. They know they're doing all this. Like, there might not be enough High Point basketball fans to sell out half a stadium somewhere. I don't know. I'm not trying to try, but it's just a numbers game,
right?
Whenever you have 40,000 undergrads every year in one school and 6,000 to 10,000 in another, you want those big schools in these major games because the money will follow that.
Right. And again, like I said, when they're so focused on the money, that's what matters most. That's with like High Point, only 6,000 students, but also it's a private school with its own funding versus like UW Wisconsin, who has to go through the state a lot of the times. And a lot of these other big schools that they can get to that point where they're giving $4 million to their athletes, and maybe they're finding different ways to make the NCAA money if they can be that mid-major by bringing in some guys that were forgotten in other places, having the right head coach there, which they're probably going to lose their head coach after this tournament because he's a guy that's just going to get eyes on him, Flynn Clayman. These are moments where I think a lot of these schools could use at least that one round to benefit off of that and find ways to tell the NCAA, hey, we can still make you money if you give us the opportunity because we're making ourselves money.
There you go. I mean, you look at the bigger conference teams that are in that situation, Vanderbilt, Baylor's of the world. You got, what are some of the other private? I mean, those are two.
In college basketball, Creighton is one that usually brings a lot of money that way.
Like Vandy, here these last 2 years since NIL, transfer portal, all this stuff, and like we looked at that. They have like 8,000 undergrads or 10,000 undergrads. Like it's a small private school, and that's why they've not been able to compete in the SEC for a long time. But all of a sudden the money gets open and those donors have deep pockets and they're going to say, hey, I'll give whatever you want. Let's make this thing competitive because we want to enjoy the ride. Right. So money speaks. I do love the stories, Charlie. I'm not trying to like, I always chase like the business side of the sports because it's intriguing to me. And unfortunately it is what moves the needle on that side of it. But the story and like the energy and excitement of like what it brings. Speaking of like the baseball season, again, last year I didn't realize I was like a knee-jerk reaction baseball fan. And, I became like I truly feel like I became a fan more last year watching the Brewers than I had been in the past, whereas I saw it from a different perspective. I looked at it from a fan perspective and I'm like, you win this game, you lose this game. I'm like, day to day, I was just like high and low. So only time I was happy was when they went on like the 18 game winning streak. I'm like, that feels good to me. Let's do that every 18 games. That sounds perfect.
Right. Get the whole city burgers again.
That's right. All right. Well, hey, we got one more segment. There's a fast show for you today. Just an hour with us because everyone else stole time. Brewers are still in time. I don't know if they've stolen a base yet, but looks like they're back up at bat. Let's see if Bowers can crank a homer here. But you are listening to the Mason Crosby Show. Sorry, you are listening to the Mason Crosby Show live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
What's on Mason Crosby's mind today?
Now I'm thinking.
It's time for Extra Points, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis.
Tell me what's on your mind.
On the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in to the shorter version of the Mason Crosby Show here from 1 to 2 today, as we all are locked in on what the Brewers are doing. For right now, my fan mind is, well, the Brewers just can't bat anymore. Like, they're going to get one hit. Bryce Turang's the only one that can hit the ball. Everybody else just stinks. I did see Bill. I think, what did he get, like 10 pitches, 12 pitches to him? And he was fouling everything off.
Yeah, and then he popped it out, Bill Contreras. He has like dreads today too.
Does
this
he?
is something that I was like surprised by. Yeah, they're really long. I was surprised. I didn't see that coming today.
Well, I got to get all subscribed up with my MLB TV, my Brewers TV. I'm going to lock in, throw them a couple coins. I'm gonna send that receipt back over to Sparky here though, and Jason there at Odyssey, just see if they'll take care of me. It's a business expense. I got to do it, right? Yeah, exactly. So let's see. It's Thursday. I wish I was golfing because the weather is really nice here. What y'all got going there in Milwaukee? Okay?
I wouldn't say it was as nice as yesterday. Yesterday we had like almost 70. Today it's closer in the 50s. It's very windy right now in the Milwaukee area. Hales Corners where we're at over here. Dark skies. I think it's supposed to start raining eventually around 4 o'clock here. So that's what we're dealing with.
Hey, I love you, Wisconsin, but this was the time of year that really made it tough being up there. Like whenever that weather starts just kind of being weird, right? I'm like, give me the snow, give me the cold. It's consistent. That's like why November in the football season was always the hardest.
Right.
End of October through until December, because it was transitioning into cold, and it was unpredictable. You didn't know you'd go into a game, it'd be 45 degrees, light winds, and then by the second quarter, it's sleeting and like 38 degrees, and the wind's blowing 25 miles an hour, and you had to on the fly adjust to what was going on without any extra practice reps. Yeah, everyone feel bad for me. I had to kick in all those elements. It was so tough. But those are like, honestly, though, sometimes I look back and it's like, man, those were kind of fun moments where all of a sudden you'd feel the wind shift and it starts sleeting and it drop 5 degrees and you're like, okay, I got to draw into that memory bank of like what this feels like. And so, yeah, I do miss some of those moments. I don't think my wife does, because I think those were the most stressful moments of her life whenever I was playing in some of those crazy weather games. But let's see, what do we got going on Thursday here? I'm chasing kids around like normal. Unfortunately, my son, Nolan, got dinged up a little bit playing soccer. So we're getting him checked out here this afternoon, just seeing if it's anything too serious. But man, playing sports. I wish I don't know if anyone's listening. Charlie, I don't think you have any kids that
I do not
know about, but
not yet.
Not yet. I just wish I could take all of those ailments away, right? I'm just like, give me a pulled hammy right now, or give me a strained hip or something. Like, I just hate seeing them like kind of suffer through those moments. But then at the same time, then like the athlete in me and the guy, that did it for a long, I'm like, these are the moments that make you stronger and tougher, right?
Define your career. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, because you can just feel it on him. He's just like, gosh, I'm going to probably miss a game or two. Like, who knows how long this is going to be. He's so distraught. And I'm just like, every time I was injured, I became back stronger, because you focus on that. How to, these are learning moments on how to prevent that down the line. So sports, life, all of those things, these are the things that you can grab hold of and try to grow from. When you get hit in the mouth, when something hurts, when something's bad, try to take hold of it and find that positive and go chase it and try to get better down the road. So there are my extra points for today. My little motivational speak in this Thursday. Oh man. How much time we got, Charlie? Are we all right on the
we're getting close here. We've got about 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, hey, I'm not always. I usually have 3 other people talking in my ears. Charlie has been gracious enough to let me introduce and break out my own show, so that's awesome. But you have been listening to the Mason Crosby Show. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Awesome Thursday. Enjoy this Brewers hopeful victory. If they don't win, I'm going to be a nut job tomorrow. Later.